What's going on, my peeps? What's going on, my peeps? You got Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right chair. I'm going to get this thing a try again. Okay, my internet is acting good. I'm coming to you live. Oh, you know what? Let me stop this because I wanted to do live. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to do, let me see if I can do this. Oh man. I messed up. I'm not ready. Okay, live right there, loading. Get ready. Try to get over here on Facebook real quick. Next, next. Okay, loading. Not putting no description in there. Are we getting ready? Oh, go live. Three, two, one. All right, all right, all right, all right. This is guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. We're here right here. I'm over here on my Facebook channel, over here on my YouTube channel. Recording. I'm all over the place. I'm gonna try this again. Hey, listen, I know you guys haven't seen me in a while. I'm recording over here, so I need to keep looking straight. Look, my new book is out. My new book is out. Let me get it there. I gotta get a hold on. There we go. From homeless to housing the homeless. All right. The missing link between homelessness, housing, and lasting transformation. One body, one mission, one purpose, one kingdom. I want to just read for y'all, for you guys, my first chapter, right? I can do a whole lot of preparing and prompting and promoting, but I'm Ray Wilkerson, your lived experience expert in housing navigation, recovery, and transformation. One of the things that I do, I don't teach from theory, I teach from what life taught me. I'm gonna go with you on my first chapter. It's called The Journey. The Journey Begins. Now you're gonna see in my post that I'm going to start reading the book. We're going to put the time and date on there. But I think right now, like, I just want to give you a little backdrop, like a little preview, put it like that, of what it is, like my life, my lived experience. I read earlier today, coming from Camden, New Jersey, right? I mean, growing up in Camden, Camden is what it is. I mean, everybody from Camden, we just from Camden. But let me get right with it before I lose people. Oh, trying to reconnect. Look at what? What? What's going on over there in Facebook? Do the poor wire net. What? Okay. All right. Hold on a second, guys. Let me do this. I'm going to see. Work with me for a minute. I'm probably going to lose a bunch of people, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, there we go. Now let me get back over here on Facebook. All right. Let me get that set up a second. All right, done. Now let me redo it. Live, loading. Come on this way. Come on that way. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, let me come over a little bit. There we go. All right, go live. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm back over there on Facebook. Listen, I'm once again, hey, this is your guy Ray, your lived experience expert in housing navigation, recovery, and transformation. I got to talk very slow because I get excited at times. See, because I don't teach from theory, I teach from what life has taught me. And my new book, just hot off the presses, From Homelessness to Housing the Homeless, the missing link between homelessness, housing, and lasting transformation. One body, one mission, one purpose, one kingdom. Let me get that there. That's the book. Let me put that up there. And let me see if I can get you guys right here. All right. I'm going to talk with you from my first chapter. The journey begins. The journey begins. There was a time in my life when I believed the world would be better off without me. Not because I was a bad person, not because I hated people, Not because I wanted to hurt anyone. I was simply tired. Tired of struggling. Tired of failing. Tired of running. Tired of hearing voices. Tired of carrying the weight of life that seemed completely out of control. On that particular day, I found myself sitting on a second floor fire escape in North Philadelphia, alone, broken, hopeless, and holding a .357 revolver. At that moment, I believe I had to reach the end. At that moment, I believe I had reached the end of my story. The strange thing is that most people would never have guessed I would end up there. Neither would I, because my story did not begin on a fire escape. It did not begin with addiction. It did not begin with homelessness. It did not begin with failure. It began years earlier with dreams. And I asked myself, how did I get here? The question haunted me. How does a man go from possibility to hopelessness? How does a man go from having dreams to sleeping on trains? How does a man go from managing a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant to digging through the trash behind the same building looking for food? How does a man go from wearing a suit and tie to eating pizza off of a subway platform? How does a man go from believing in tomorrow into wanting to end it today? The truth is that these things really rarely happen overnight. Homelessness is usually not one decision. Addiction is usually not one decision. Hopelessness is usually not one decision. They are often the results of decisions, many disappointments, many wounds, many failures, many moments where a person slowly loses sight of who they were created to be. That was my story. The life that nobody saw. People often see homeless as a housing problem, and certainly housing is part of the issue. But homeless is often much deeper than that. Behind every homeless person is a story, a family, a dream, a disappointment, a struggle, series of events that most people never see. When people looked at me during those years, they saw a homeless man. What they did not see was the child who once had a dream, the young man who believed his life would matter, the person who never imagined sleeping on trains, the person who never imagined riding the speed line all night, the person who never imagined sharing a mattress with rodents in a basement, the person who never imagined standing on a fire escape holding a gun. They saw the outcome. They never saw the journey. And in that journey, there was these voices. One of the hardest things to explain about those years is the battle going on in my mind. The streets were difficult. The addiction was difficult. Homelessness was difficult, but the voices were often the worst. The voices of failure, the voices of shame, the voices of regret. The voices telling me I would never change. The voices were telling me my future was over. The voices told me nothing would ever get better. For years, I tried to silence those voices. Sometimes with drugs, sometimes by running, sometimes by pretending they were not there. But eventually they became impossible to ignore. And sitting on that fire escape, I felt like they had finally won what I could not see. On that second floor fire escape with that .357, there was something I could not see. What I could not see that day was that God was not finished with me. I could not see the future. I could not see purpose. I could not see transformation. I could not see what now is called Exodus Life Change. I could not see housing navigation. I could not see people I would one day help. I could not see the communities I would one day serve. I could not see the books I would one day write. I couldn't see none of it. All I could see was pain. But purpose existed long before we recognized it. And sometimes God is working in ways we cannot understand. And you got to understand the beginning of a different story. That something happened differently to change my story. Looking back now, I realized the fire escape was not the end of my story. It was the beginning of a different story. It was the beginning of a different story, a story of recovery, a story of redemption, a story of transformation, a story of purpose, a story that would eventually take me from homelessness to housing people experiencing homelessness just like myself. A story that would teach one of the most important lessons of my life. Housing changes where people live, but transformation changes who people are. I'm going to say that again. Housing, when you talk about homelessness, we always talking about housing the person. But housing changes where a person lives, but transformation changes who the person becomes. The lesson would eventually become the foundation of everything I believed, everything I teach, everything I built, and everything you are about to read. And here's my final reflections of my first chapter. As you read this book, I want you to understand something. This is not simply a book about homelessness. It's not simply a book about housing. It is not simply a book about recovery. It's not even simply a book about transformation, but it is a book about transformation. It is a book about purpose. It is a book about hope. It is a book about what becomes possible when people refuse to let their worst chapter become their final chapter. Because if there's one thing my life has taught me, it is this. No matter how dark the night becomes, purpose can still be found. No matter how broken life becomes, transformation is still possible. And no matter how far someone has fallen, God can still rewrite the story. The fire escape was not the end. It was the beginning. And this is my story. That's my first chapter in my book. From homeless to housing the homeless, the missing link between homelessness, housing, and lasting transformation. One body, one mission, one purpose, one kingdom. But we're going to go through a whole series of reading this book. I got Dr. Robin on there. She told me to do this. She told me to start reading the book. This is just a prelude. You know, we're going to set out a particular time and day, and we're going to go through the whole book. We're going to go through the whole. Listen, the book is my life. It's about transformation. It's about hope. It's about people, as I read this book, can identify with who I was and who I am now. It's a book of hope. It's a book of transformation because you're not alone. I'm going to share my personal journey with you. My personal journey of homelessness, my personal journey of addiction, my personal journey of being incarcerated, my personal journey of hopeless to recovery, my personal journey from hopelessness to purpose, my personal journey from housing navigator and transformable leader to who I am today. We're going to give you the raw, lived experience of my life. Right there on the front line. So I'm going to challenge you. If this is you, if this is something like you can identify with, if you want to get into housing homeless people, see, there's a new sheriff in town. The old guard, how they used to housing people is gone. But people like us with that lived experience, we now will give you a roadmap. We will now give you the pathway. We will now create the bridge. Hey, this guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right chair. Hey, look, in the comment section, say, Ray, man, I'm going to be on there. I want to get the book. I want to get the book. Where can I get the book? I'm going to drop the link in there once people start asking for the book. Listen, you don't want to miss it. I might not be the best reader in the world, but God is the best God in the world. I don't know what that meant. They just sound good. Oh, there go my sister Jackie. There should be a movie about your life. It's incredible. Yes, there are many others, but your life looks. Let me see if I can hit that. Uh-oh. Rotate back. Okay. But your life is like an amazing blessing. Amen. Let me turn this over a little bit. All right, listen, I'm going to get ready to get out of here, but I just want you to know there is hope. 20 years on drugs, in prison, homeless, eating out of trash cans, the whole 9 yards. This August 6th, 2026, I will have 29 years clean or delivered. However you want to put it. And it happened one day at a time. Read my book. Get the book. You are the missing link for somebody's life. Hey, this is your guy Ray, your lived experience expert in housing navigation, recovery, and transformation. I do not teach from theory. I teach from what life has taught me.